Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about playing Z against Viktor and the sort of runes, items, and playstyle that I go for personally. I'm a Challenger Z main on EU West who peaked 1200 LP this season. If you're interested in more content from me, I stream most nights on Twitch, so feel free to check out the description. For runes, Leggo and Conqueror. Electrocute is another option if you're looking for some torture. I think Electrocute is really bad on Z in general, but it's even worse against Viktor because you don't win the early game short trades. It's like impossible to snowball from your early trades against him. So, I mean, also he can go Seekers, and if you have Electrocute, you can FF. First Strike is another option, but it doesn't give you enough kill pressure, in my opinion, until you know you have like 2 items, and by then he's already scaled a bunch. So I want a good amount of kill pressure at, like, you know, as I finish Hydra or like level 7, 8, 9 in the 2v2s and stuff. So I like going Conqueror. And second, I go Presence of Mind for the best scaling. Alacrity gives you more attack speed, which makes everything smoother. You can take platings quicker, you can farm camps quicker, you can get your auto off quicker, so your combos are going to be a bit quicker as well. Like jumping to shadows right after autoing someone. It's all quicker, it's smoother, it's better. Tenacity's been nerfed a billion times. Bloodline's also been nerfed, so these aren't as good. The last one, taking Last Stand, is best because you're always going to proc Last Stand during a fight, if you think about it, because you're always going to be 30 to 60% of HP if you end up dying, right? So you're always going to deal damage at that point, but you're not always going to deal damage to somebody who's Sankhya and somebody who's low. So most scenarios, Last Stand is going to be procced, so it should do more damage on average in games. Anyways, for the secondary runes, taking Demolish I think is good because against Viktor, like say after first recall, you have 750 gold, you have Warhammer or something, right? He pokes you a bit, he roams because he's an idiot, then he tries to help his team. You never want to help your team early on, so you're going to push the wave, you're going to take the plating, you're going to get 175 gold, and you're going to chill. You're just going to go back. So that's good for that. And Second Wind is good for getting to 750 gold before your first recall. It gives you good sustain. I don't like to go Dawn Shield, but I still go Second Wind because I think it's good, kind of. At least before first recall, and without it, it's tough to get to 750 gold because Viktor's poke is like his E, you can't dodge it because it's broken. And then you go Adaptive, and MR. That's pretty self-explanatory. For summoners, I like going Flash and Teleport. I think Teleport is superior to Ignite, in high elo especially, so I get a lot of value from that. And also, I hate missing XP early, and against Viktor, that's always going to happen. So I try to reduce it as much as possible by going Teleport. You can go Ignite and Flash if you want, and try to get the more kill pressure sort of thing at, you know, level 6, 7, 8, 9. I personally don't like it. I think Teleport and Flash is best. And yeah, Flash is good because if you have Flash advantage, then you can just brute force him dead pretty much if he's like 50% HP. If you Flash ult on him and then use your W to follow and get more damage out, he's just gonna die. Especially like if he has no Flash, right? So yeah, I like taking Flash for that. Using WW ult against Viktor is obviously not good. So because of his W, right? So you'll be stuck and then you won't be able to really do much damage to him. So that helps with that. Teleport obviously does more than Ignite, it scales much better. So like after minute 10 you basically want to teleport anyways, so that's why Ignite is probably not as good, but if you want, you know, you can go Ignite and Flash. It's not going to be like the worst thing in the world. You might miss a lot of XP early if the Viktor is good especially, but yeah, it's up to you really. I prefer Flash and Teleport. I think it's best and it works well for me. Okay, so I'm gonna play some footage here to show you a bit of exactly what you shouldn't do level 1 against Viktor. So my jungler pinged me toward the Wraiths, and me being an idiot got baited by my own team sort of thing. So I see the Viktor and then I hesitate and then I just go ward anyways. I say fuck it. But yeah, that's really bad. This isn't a matchup where you can ward if the Viktor has any brain cells. You don't want to go for that ward. You want to just stay in lane, you know, and sort of protect your wave, because even if the Viktor wasn't there, he can just walk towards the bush when he doesn't see me in the lane, you know, so he can zone me that way, and I would not be in a good state. Apart from that, as usual against range matchups, you don't want to let Viktor stack the first 3 waves and get a big crash in, otherwise he'll get too much of a timer. So if he starts Q, then you're going to want to walk up a little, you know, let him hit you with the first part of his Q, and then run back immediately, so that the minions re-aggro, and he can, the wave will push towards you slowly that way. If he starts E, then you could just stand in your backline minions kind of and pray that he E's you. You know, stay out of his auto range. If he doesn't E you for some reason, then you can sort of just get him to auto you as well. Just try to re-aggro the minions so that it comes into you, and the first 2 waves crash instead of, like, you know, him stacking all 3, because if the first 2 waves crash, then he might hit level 2 first, but you have a chance to hit level 3 first. So that's something to think about. Levels 3 until 6, there's not much to say. You just want to stay in XP range, Q when you can, don't take too much poke, try to get 750 gold, and then you can recall, buy Warhammer and teleports back. In this game I actually end up recalling early because I don't get enough gold. Pretty much because of the level 1 where I lost like 200 HP for no reason. But yeah, usually you can get the gold. After you get your Warhammer and you get back to the lane, you can kind of fish for some WEQ poke combos if Viktor is standing away from his wave. He's playing defensively, he shouldn't be. But usually he will play aggressively and you can't really do much, so this sort of spike is much better for the 2v2 skirmishes which might happen, instead of the 1v1s. After level 6, it's still pretty awkward to fight Viktor and try to all-in him, because his W is like... his Q gives him a small shield, but then his W puts you on like a timer, so if you like ult him and then he Ws and he places W well, then you're kind of fucked, because you have to WEQ off his W and then kind of lose your gap close, so everything's a bit awkward. So I would recommend just not fighting him still, I guess, not taking all-ins, just farming up, getting to your Hydra. After you get to Hydra, things get a little easier, especially if you have Hydra and Ionian boots, because you have enough ability haste for this certain combo that I really like using against Viktor. So poke him out a bit with WEQ a few times, and when he's about, I don't know, 60% HP, you can walk up, WEQ, and if the 2 Qs hit, then you can just chill back and pretend that you're not going to take the W. The Viktor will disrespect your W a lot of the time, and then you can take the W, ult him, and then your Qs will be up again. So you can Q him again, and then hit him with another 2 Qs. This is a really good combo that I like using against Viktor, and it helps a lot to have Conqueror with this combo. Because you can choose to back out at any stage of the combo if you miss any of those 4 Qs that you throw out. So that's a really nice combo of all-in against Viktor. It also negates his W in a way that, you know, all of your damage comes out quite quickly. You don't need to get stunned by his W or anything weird like that, so I like doing that. In general though, it's better to use a wave clear to play with your team instead and look for skirmishes, because those are a bit more reliable than trying to 1v1 the Viktor. In the mid game it becomes like a lot easier after the laning phase, especially where you go side lane, because you're stronger inside and your teammates can collapse on Viktor a lot easier than the enemies can collapse on you in side lane. So pushing the wave inside and then having your team come over to help dive him, or pushing the wave inside and then moving to fog, it's a good idea, right? Because he's gonna path somewhere to move after clearing the wave that you pushed in. So that's how you want to play in the mid game, and in the team fights you want to look for flanks. So to find flanks you're going to want to push in a side lane, so if there's going to be a fight at Baron, then you're going to want to push in top lane and sweep as you walk through the fog, right? If there's a fight at Dragon, you'd want to push bot lane and then sweep and then find a good position that way. You just want to find flanks for the team fights because Viktor's an immobile target. You can also go for the AD carry or anyone else that you want to go for. For items, you can start Longsword 3 potions if you really want. I prefer Longsword refillable. You're going to want to rush Hydra into Ionians, which is very standard with Conqueror. And second item, you're going to want to go Duskblade, so you have much more damage to kill the Viktor. If your team is behind and you're ahead, you should go Grudge, like I did in this game, since my team was just getting stomped. And then you go Cleaver next, since you want to build those two items successively. And last item, I went Edge of Night because they had a Rel and just annoying stuff like that. But you can go Serpents if you need it for the shielding. In summary, Viktor is not a very good matchup for Zed, especially in the 1v1. If your team doesn't help you, or you don't help your team at some stage and make some skirmishes happen, things become very awkward, and he's just going to poke you, and poke you. So you basically suffer until you get to Hydra, and then you can kind of push the waves better and enable more skirmishes to happen. I tried to be a little less scripted in this video and show a bit more of me, I guess. So I hope this video was useful. I think I talked about a few things that may or may not help you. But either way, if you enjoy the video, do subscribe and leave a like or comment or whatever you want. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.